Yo, it's Marlon Speaks Live. Yeah, I'm saying what they hide. History uncensored, let the real survive. Yeah, it's truth over comfort, I don't pick no side. If it shake the room a little, let the truth collide. Cause it's Marlon Speaks Live. No script, no disguise. I don't sell no lies, just to monetize. Cause the past still breathing and it never dies. Yeah, it's Marlon Speaks Live. Now the truth will rise. Yo, it's Marlon Speaks Live. Yeah, I'm saying what they hide. History uncensored, let the real survive.
What's good? It's Skano. So, FBAs are a hate group. Yeah. That's what, the late Scott Adams proclaimed. You know, the cartoonist, he had a, cartoon in the newspaper or whatever, was it Dilbert? I'm not into cartoons, but, yeah, he said, black folks are a hate group because of a poll that was taken. Which, this poll said that, I believe 50% or more of black folks in this country, we're not all right with white folks. This unanimous poll. And he said, that pretty much declares FBA is a hate group. I mean, listen, man, I don't promote hate, but let's be real. How should black folks feel about whites in this country? Given the history, given the present. I mean, what's going on? Let's not act like we've entered some new, frontier of racial harmony. I mean, America is still America. They just don't have, the privilege of, lynching us, burning us alive and, anything, feeding our, our infants to alligators, things of that nature. That's kind of, I believe, so it's more, subversive. Let's put it like that. But, I'm not saying all white folks, want to see, FBAs back in shackles or, hanging from trees, but they still exist, like these people in ICE, who it turns out are, it's come out, a majority of them are Proud Boys. They belong to these white hate groups. You know what I'm saying? So, but not to get off track, I mean, if the roles were reversed, how would white people feel about black folks? I mean, at the very least, there's some mistrust, some side-eye skepticism as far as white folks' intentions in this country, given the history and, like I said, given even now. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not promoting hate, but do you blame us? If we are skeptical of white folks. So we are a hate group because, based on that. Even though we were the ones that were victimized by, racial hatred, any form of atrocity you could think of, black folks have been subjected to in this country. So, but we are the hate group. You know what I'm saying? I don't know many black hate groups that exist in real life. And like I said, you got the Proud Boys, the Front, this New Frontier, and it's so many different white nationalist hate groups in this country. Never mind the Klan, which has been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, and even the police forces. So, let's be real, man, but, like I said, he recently, after coming out, making these proclamations, and never mind that the man was on his deathbed, pretty much close to it, prostate cancer, even on their deathbeds, these racists, they steadfast in their hatred, so he got his, got his cartoon or whatever, canceled, some different little, speeches or, the man, I don't know who would want to listen to him in real life, but obviously he had some type of following because, he would give public appearances and those all got canceled. And at that point, he all of a sudden realized the error of his ways. He was wrong. So he says, he was wrong, or I don't believe he was sorry at all, though. I'm going to be honest, and oftentimes people like this, they aren't sorry about what they say or what they do. They are just sorry about the consequences. So once it hit his pockets, you know what I'm saying? Once they start stripping away his public appearances and, hit him in his pockets, all of a sudden, he's sorry and he regrets it, but you now have to, stand before a higher power. As many as these, people with a similar mindset. And don't worry about what FBAs think. You know what I'm saying? There's a higher power that y'all, gonna have to answer to. But this shows you how deep, just how deep their hatred, their animosity for FBAs run. It's genetically ingrained in a lot of them, So even on the brink of death, still perpetuating the racist vitriol. You know what I'm saying? Just can't help themselves. So I told you, man, it's a sickness of the soul, racism. It's a sickness of the mind, of the spirit, spiritually corrupt, But furthermore, he says, he doesn't want to be around any black folks, and he would advise any white Americans to, as if this country isn't already and always hasn't been segregated. Let's be real. He would advise white folks not to frequent any areas that black folks live in because they hate us and they are a threat to us. It's the same old talking points, man. Like, when are you hateful as inbred races going to just die off? You know what I'm saying? Apparently never, because they pass it on. You know what I'm saying? As we see by the late Charlie Kirk, racism just doesn't die in this country. They like roaches. You can nuke roaches. It's been proven that roaches can withstand nuclear, you know what I'm saying? Just like racist roaches. They just don't die. They just genetically engineer themselves. You know what I'm saying? And pass it on. So, yeah. But like I said, man, he has bigger issues to worry about now than what FBAs think about him, because the Most High, we all have to stand before the Most High. And wouldn't it be something? Wouldn't it be ironic if he ends up, his version of hell, if he ends up there, because maybe he did, repent for his, his sins, and, I can't judge him, but the Most High can and will. Wouldn't it be ironic if he end up his version of hell? Because I believe hell is everybody going to have their own version. If you surrounded by, people of color, it's going to be black people in hell too. I mean, it is what it is. And your destiny, your fate is to spend eternity suffering around the very people that you despised. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like I said, man, just can't get rid of them, But guess what? Y'all can't get rid of us either. So, know what to tell you, man. It is what it is. I guess you're just gonna have to deal with it, And like I said, though, America is symbolic of hate and racism. Nothing else, if you ask me. I don't think there's nothing else significant. And I'm not saying America doesn't have its, good points, you know, it's positives, so to speak. But at the end of the day, what America is most symbolic for is racism and hatred. You know, proud to be an American, huh? It is what it is. No ops left, Skano.
Today, Senator Kelly put Pete Hegseth on the defensive by literally making him a defendant in the case of Kelly versus Hegseth, filed in federal court in Washington, D.C., asking a federal judge to stop Pete Hegseth. Senator Kelly respectfully asks this court to declare the censure letter
So yeah, man, that was a new channel. That was my first time watching dude, and he inspired me to make this video. So yeah, the real hate group is this country, and this country wants us all to believe that we're the hate group. This country is now manufacturing hate groups to target and to try to justify this country being the actual hate group. So that's what's going on. It's been happening with Black Americans. We've been dealing with this hate group of America. Been dealing with it. White America never wanted to listen. Now that hate is being spread to everybody. And I know they ain't forgot about us. We just chilling right now. But they gonna try to start something with us real soon here. So y'all just watch for our response, because it ain't gonna be pretty. Yeah, I'm gone, man.